just wanna see the light.
Hello guys, welcome to the second installment of Black Squad's Weapons Guide, and today we're going to be looking at the first submachine gun you get, and that is the MP7A1. As usual, we'll be going over the brief history of the weapon itself, the stats in-game and how it performs, and then my personal opinion and the best way to use your MP7 to dominate your enemies on the battlefield. To get into the history of the MP7 represents a generation of enhanced performance submachine guns that bridge the gap between assault rifles and conventional submachine guns. Smaller than a conventional submachine gun, the MP7 is a compact and lightweight personal defense weapon, or PDW, that can be carried like a handgun, yet it is capable of rifle-like effectiveness. Adopted and fielded by several of the world's leading special operation units like the Navy SEALs, the gas-operated MP7 fires from the closed bolt position using a rotating lock bolt system like the other H&K G36 assault rifles. The MP7 is extremely compact, lightweight, can be used in very confined spaces, and is practically recoil-free. The MP7 is manufactured primarily of carbon fiber reinforced polymer and embedded with metal components. It fires the 4.6 times 30mm round, having the balance between a rifle round and a pistol round. The other variants of the MP7, like the MP7A1 in-game and the MP7A2, which has a tan appearance with 3 rails for multiple attachments or accessories. For the damage of the MP7, I was able to find out that there are 7 different distances that the MP7 changes on its damage statistics. So the first range and the second range and third range and so on is different. There's more damage drop off compared to TAR-21. TAR-21 is a assault rifle, so that's probably why there wasn't so much of a difference, but the MP7 has a lot and really has like a big different row ranging from like a 51 fatal all the way to a 35 fatal. So I'm probably just going to list off the damages from each distance and show a picture of each distance and so far. And I'm pretty sure and hopefully you guys get an idea of how much the MP7 does at this range. And hopefully this helps you out a lot because it is kind of hard to explain, but I hope you guys do understand in the end of this. So for the first distance of damage for the MP7, without the suppressor, the MP7 is going to be doing 51 for a fatal shot, 37 for a headshot, 20 to the chest, 17 to the torso, and 15 to the legs and arms. With the suppressor, you're going to be doing 48 as a fatal shot, 36 as a headshot, 20 to the chest, 16 to the torso, and 14 to the legs and arms. For the second distance, without the suppressor, you're going to be looking at 45 as a fatal shot, 36 as a headshot, 20 as a chest shot, 16 to the torso, 14 to the legs and arms, and with the suppressor, you're going to be looking at 43 as a fatal shot, 33 to the head, 18 to the chest, 16 to the torso, and 13 to the legs and arms. Now at distance 3 without the suppressor, you're going to be doing 43 as a fatal shot, 33 to the head, 18 to the chest, 16 to the torso, and 13 to the legs and arms. With the suppressor, you're going to be doing 40 as a fatal shot, 32 to the head, 17 to the chest, 15 to the torso, 12 to the legs and arms. Now for the fourth distance, without the suppressor, you're going to be doing 40 as a fatal shot, 32 as a headshot, 17 to the chest, 15 to the torso, 12 to the legs and arms. With the suppressor, you're going to be doing 40 as a fatal shot, 32 to the head, 16 to the chest, 14 to the torso, and 12 to the legs and arms. At the fifth distance, without the suppressor, you're going to be doing 38 as a fatal shot, 26 to the head, 16 to the chest, 12 to the torso, 12 to the legs and arms. With the suppressor, you're going to be doing 35 as a fatal shot, 28 to the head, 15 to the chest, 12 to the torso, and 11 to the legs and arms. So this is the sixth distance and the last distance, and anything that expands or goes further away from this position does the exact same amount of damage. So without the suppressor, you're going to be looking at 35 as a fatal shot, 28 to the head, 15 to the chest, 12 to the torso, and 11 to the legs and arms. Now with the suppressor, you're going to be doing 32 as a fatal shot, 25 to the head, 14 to the chest, 12 to the torso, and 10 to the legs and arms. Now the TAR-21 has two attachments. One is the laser sight, which you're able to basically pinpoint enemies with or show your teammates where you're aiming. And the second one is the suppressor, which has this role of keeping you off the minimap, but yet it reduces your damage overall. Now in game, the MP7A1 says that it has an accuracy of 69, the power of 20, the range of 26, fire rate of 98, stability of 59, and mobility of 95, and the ammunition is 40 out of 120. Now the MP7 has 2 reload speed, just like any other weapon in game, but the first reload speed, which is the short reload speed, is when you still have some ammunition in your weapon. You're going to be looking at a 1.64 second reload, but when you're fully out of ammo in your MP7 for a long reload, you're going to be looking at a 1.84 second. There's only a 0.20 difference, but that's not that bad. It only has a 0.20, but sometimes when you get into a firefight, like how I did when I was getting gameplay, it does impact you a bit, but it's more faster compared to other reloads out there, especially for assault rifles, sniper rifles, or even the other SMGs, which is the vector only. Now I'll be showing you the first reload. So the first reload again is a 1.64 second reload speed. Now for the second reload, you're going to be looking at a 1.84 second reload speed. Now the ADS speed for the MP7 is a 0.5 second ADS, so the aim down sight in this game is fairly fast compared to other weapons, but just to give that out there for you, you're going to be looking at a 0.5 second ADS time. Now for the draw speed of the MP7, you're going to be looking at a 0.83 second, which is fairly good for SMG. I usually like to round it up and just say that it's a 1 second, but to be more specific, it's a 0.83 second draw speed, which for SMG it's fairly good. Now guys, I'm going to show you the spray of the MP7. I noticed that the MP7 does have a good spray pattern, but it's only for the first couple shots, and after that it pulls up and just kind of spread everywhere. And the spread is fairly big, but it is SMG. It is used to dominate more in close quarters, and that's probably why it has that type of spray, because it's not that effective compared to your assault rifles at range. But here's the spray pattern for the MP7 with and without the suppressor. Now time to show you guys the best thing I like about Black Squad or any other game that has this feature is the fact that you could inspect your weapon. So here's the MP7 with the suppressor, without the suppressor, with the laser sight turned on and all that stuff, and every inspection there is. So I'm going to show you guys the inspection. Hope you guys enjoy because it does look pretty sexy on the MP7. Here's a little thing about the MP7 I just want to show you guys is the animation when you pull out the weapon is pretty cool. You pull back the charging handle and you just kind of do the basic, but it still looks pretty cool for animation. Now, one thing I like to go in depth about, and it's something that I enjoy whenever I play Black Squad or any game that has like attachment features, is the red dot that comes with the MP7. The MP7 comes with the aim point micro T1 sight. It doesn't really say aim point, probably because of copyright issues with aim point, but we do know what type of red dot it is. It's a micro T1 red dot, and it's raised above a little higher compared to your other micro T1 sights, because the Micro T1 has the option to be lowered, or comes with a lowered variant, and the variant on the MP7 is a higher raised red dot sight. So it's a really cool sight. I like it overall. I never really got to use one in real life. I want to give myself a Micro T1 for airsoft and see how it is. I do see it a lot on other weapon platforms like M4, A1s, AR-15s, M16s, anything that is kind of basically the AR variant, or the SMGs like the MP5. But it is a overall good red dot sight. It does kind of blur your vision a bit, which I don't, maybe they're just doing it for balance purposes in Black Squad, but I don't know, because usually the red dot sight that small shouldn't really blur that much view, but other than that, it's a really good red dot sight and sturdy in reality. So I hope you guys enjoy this red dot sight that they gave to us in Black Squad for the MP7. The MP7 has a fire rate of 800 rounds per minute, which is really high, especially the fact that it's SMG. And even if it deals low damage, the MP7 does kind of make up for that low damage with the high fire rate. And by far, one of the highest fire rates in game, probably the second behind it will be the Chris Vector. But other than that, MP7 has a really amazing fire rate, and you could be able to dish out ammo and bullets like it's nothing. Now, for my thoughts and opinion of the MP7, honestly, it's a good weapon for a starter weapon, especially the fact that you get for free, and it is an SMG, so there isn't really much to expect. After all, it is an SMG, and most of the maps in this game, they do lean towards assault rifles in the favor of assault rifles, but there are some instances that SMGs do come on top. For me, when I was using the MP7, I usually like to stick more towards the close quarters, like maps like Harbor Noon or Temple, or good engagements for the MP7, but it still falls to the high-end powerful assault rifles, or even moderate damage assault rifles, just because they do more damage and they do have a fire rate that's average enough to take out the MP7 or anyone wielding the MP7. You will get outgunned. Most of the time, the only time I win firefights with the MP7 is usually when the enemy is poor with their accuracy or poor with their aiming, and I either catch them off guard. But there are times when I do live frequently, or just barely live with like 20 or under HP, sometimes like that. The only reason why is because the MP7 does dish out that high speed of ammunition, so I was able to get rounds downrange. So the best tips, honestly, for the MP7 is to stick to close quarters. ADS when it's right. The MP7 is good when you hip fire it, and for me, honestly, I think it's just a preference. When I turn on the laser side of the MP7, I honestly feel like the hipfire is better. I don't know. It's probably just my preference, because, I mean, in Black Ops 2, there was that laser sight, and it does make me feel like it does shoot better from the hips. But then the red dot sight, it's best to use that at, like, medium range when you're engaging, because when you ADS, the spread does get a bit more tighter, and it's easier to control compared when it's being fired from the hip. But other than that, the MP7 is a hip-fire weapon. You can't expect much from it. It has a good 40-round magazine, 41 if you put another magazine with one in the chamber. It does have 120 rounds in reserve, so you do have at least a decent amount of ammo before you gotta pick up another weapon. Other than that, the MP7 is your first SMG, so don't really expect highly of it. I think the Tarton one is a better choice if you're willing to pick from one of the two. However, if you're looking for a better fire rate, then the MP7 is the way to go. If you're looking for that close quarter combat, and if you just aim for the chest or above, because if you aim for the legs, you're honestly not going to do jack damage to them. Torso a little bit, chest and fatal shots and headshots are the way to go if you're using the MP7. So those are the areas, and get used to aiming for the chest, head, and the fatal area in Black Squad, because those are the critical areas where you want to aim for. So that's how you succeed with the MP7, is close quarters, aim down sights when it's right, hip fire majority of the time when you're in close quarters, and honestly just aim for the head and the chest and for the fatal shot. Those are honestly ways to succeed with the MP7 in my opinion and how I used it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Black Squad Weapons Guide of the MP7. I hope it does give you some tips and some more details of how the MP7 is and a little background of it and what comes with the MP7. But until then, stick next time because we're going to be looking at the first sniper rifle we get, which is the M110K1.
I believe in nothing, not the end and not